Have you ever finished reading a book, watched the adaptation, and then sat there, wondering if you just experienced two completely different stories? Well, that's exactly what's happening with Off Campus. Ever since the show premiered, fans of the books have been debating one question. Did the adaptation stay true to what made the books so special? And after comparing both versions, I can honestly see why the fandom is split. Because while the show gets some things incredibly right, there are also moments where book readers are asking, why did they change that? So today, we're breaking down the biggest differences between the off-campus books and the show. We'll talk about the characters, the relationships, the scenes that were changed, what the show improved, what the books did better, and whether this adaptation actually lives up to the hype. And trust me, one of the changes made to a major character completely changed how many fans viewed the story. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about what the show got right. One thing almost everyone agrees on is that seeing these characters come to life is exciting. For years, readers imagined what these characters looked like, how they talked, how they interacted, and what their chemistry felt like. The show finally gives us answers. Watching those relationships unfold on screen creates a different kind of connection than reading them on a page. And for newer fans who never read the books, this version may actually feel more accessible. But this is where the first major difference appears. The books spend a lot of time inside the characters' minds. Readers don't just see what happens. They understand why it happens. You know their fears. You know their insecurities. You know what they're thinking when they make certain decisions. The show doesn't always have time to include all of that. As a result, some characters can feel different depending on which version you're experiencing. A character who feels complex and layered in the books may come across as simpler on screen. And that's one of the biggest challenges every adaptation faces. Now let's talk about the relationships, because this is where many fans have the strongest opinions. In the books, relationships often have more room to develop. There are more conversations, more internal struggles, more small moments that slowly build emotional attachment. The show, however, has limited screen time. That means some storylines move faster, some emotional moments arrive earlier, and some scenes that readers loved never make it to the screen at all. For some viewers, this isn't a problem. The pacing feels quicker and more engaging. But for long-time readers, certain moments may feel less impactful because they don't have the same build-up. Now here's where things get really interesting. Not every change is a bad thing. In fact, some fans believe the show actually improved certain parts of the story. Visual storytelling can add emotion in ways that books can't. A single look, a pause, a reaction. Sometimes an actor can communicate more in a few seconds than an entire paragraph. And when that happens, the adaptation creates its own strengths instead of simply copying the source material. But perhaps the biggest debate comes down to expectations. Many readers spent years imagining these characters and stories in their own way. No adaptation can perfectly match every person's imagination. It's simply impossible. So when fans say the books are better, they're often comparing the show not only to the written story, but also to the version they've carried in their heads for years. And that's a battle no adaptation can ever truly win. So which version is better? If you want deeper character development, more detail, and a stronger understanding of what each character is feeling, the books probably have the advantage. But if you want to see the story come to life, experience the chemistry on screen, and enjoy a more visual version of the world, the show offers something unique. The truth is that they're different experiences, and maybe that's exactly why this debate continues. Now I want to hear from you. Did the show live up to your expectations? Were the books better? Or did the adaptation actually improve some parts of the story? Let me know in the comments, because this conversation isn't ending anytime soon.